Hey, Orv, can you come in here a minute? I'm having a problem with yaw.
What? Well, Will, why do you have a problem with me? What did I do this time?
No, I'm not having a problem with y'all. I'm having a problem with yaw. Y-A-W.
Yaw.
Yeah, we're in Dayton now, not North Carolina. Y'all. Yeah, what I'm talking about here is the motion of the airplane. In flight, an airplane is free to rotate. The wings can roll from side to side. The nose can pitch up and down, and the nose can also yaw from side to side. In normal, stable flight, we don't want any of those rotations. Now, of course, the side-to-side motion of the nose, the yaw, Orville found out in 1902 was connected to our ability to turn the aircraft, but not in the way most people think.
Well, when we first started doing this airplane business, remember, we didn't even have a rudder.
Yeah, you know why?
Well, of course, we could make coordinated turns with just warping our wings. But you remember, every so often, we'd lift the wing to turn, and the aircraft would turn in the wrong direction. It would twist itself into the sand. What did you call that maneuver?
It was well digging.
That's right, well digging.
Yeah, what was happening was we would roll to start a turn, and a high wing tip was going around the turn faster than the lower wing tip. So higher speed, higher drag, and it would gradually kind of slow the wing down, and the plane would suddenly kick around the other direction in the sand. Now, we added a vertical rudder in '02. In fact, at one point we added 2 fixed vertical rudders, but that only make the turning problem worse.
Yeah, I remember thinking, instead of a fixed rudder, what we needed to do was to make a rudder that could move, the surface could move, so that we could keep the nose of the aircraft pointed in the direction of the turn. So when we rolled the aircraft, it would follow along with the wings. And then you came up with the idea of making one control mechanism, taking the hip cradle, which controlled the wing warping, and also making that control the turn of the rudder.
Yeah, besides making coordinated turns possible, the rudder also provides stability when we're trying to go straight. If you keep the rudder straight and the airplane gets disturbed a little bit and starts to turn one way, the rudder will actually correct it and bring it back. So it's actually serving 2 functions here, stability and maneuverability, and we get it all done with one part.
On modern aircraft, this is one of the parts that works in the same place and in the same way as on our original aircraft. In the back of the aircraft, there's generally a large surface standing parallel to the fuselage. It's the tail or the rudder, and it has 2 different parts, the forward fixed part and a movable rear. The fixed portion maintains, as Wilbur said, stability for straight flight and counters any yaw of the nose, while the movable flap at the rear edge creates enough yaw to overcome this stability and cause the nose of the rolling aircraft to stay pointed in the direction of the turn.
Okay, now that brings us to the problem here in '04. What I'm finding is that we can only make turns of a certain radius. If we happen to hit that radius, we can just sit there and make 4 or 5 turns around the field. But we can't turn either wider or tighter. I'm starting to question my decision in '02 to tie the rudder control to the wing warping. You know, Orv, I think that if we can make the rudder independent, then we ought to be able to make coordinated wider turns or tighter turns and stay completely under control.
Good idea. But if that's going to be independent, then we need to design another control device for the aircraft. You know, we're going to have now one for the wing warping, one for the elevator, and now a third control for the rudder.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say that. Now let's get to work on this separate yaw control.
But it's dinner time, you know. Aren't you all hungry?
Oh, I suppose so. But this third control now, how do you suppose we're going to grip it?
Well, it's not a question of how you grip it. It's a question of how you can make it turn